Good afternoon, Ayush. I hear you have a question about living foods Ayurveda versus traditional Ayurveda.
Hi Kate. Yes, thanks for the conversation. I know many yoga teachers and yoga students like myself are confused when you talk about living foods Ayurveda. It's a total oxymoron. What do you have to say about that?
Why do you say it's a total oxymoron, Ayush?
Because my Ayurvedic grandfather told me that raw foods are difficult to digest. We all know that living foods is the same thing as raw foods. Raw foods disturb Vata dosha. Why would Ayurveda design a diet around disturbing Vata? It doesn't make any sense. Most people I know have a Vata imbalance as it is.
What you say is true. Many people do have a Vata imbalance due to the very stimulating and busy nature of modern life. And it's also true that raw foods can be cold and rough, which can aggravate Vata. It's also true that a raw food diet takes stronger digestive fire, or Agni. I agree, but that doesn't mean that living foods Ayurveda is an oxymoron. Indeed, skillfully applying Ayurvedic principles to living foods, or really most diets, will strengthen Agni over time.
Are you an idiot?
I'm sure many Ayurvedic doctors think so. Would you like me to explain the basic concepts behind living foods Ayurveda?
Obviously. That is what I'm here for.
Okie dokie, then. Let's start by defining some terms. Ayus means life. Veda means to know. To deeply know this life is Ayurveda.
Yes. I agree.
And living foods or raw foods are simply whole foods, green leaves, fruits, roots, nuts, seeds, and even some sprouted grains and legumes that aren't cooked over 120 degrees, or about the temperature that would burn your finger.
What does my finger have to do with it?
When any of your cells are exposed to temperatures above 120 degrees, the prana, or life force in those cells cannot survive. Neither can the enzymes. The same is true of the plants that we eat. The prana and enzymes cannot survive at this temperature. When you cook, you usually do so at temperatures higher than 200 degrees. This destroys much of the plant's innate intelligence it can transfer to your body via prana and enzymes.
Well, if this is true, I don't understand why my Ayurvedic grandfather told me that too much raw foods aren't good for the body.
Well, Ayurveda adapts to ages and cultures, which is part of why it's still around. Ayurveda is a living science. Its basic principles lie in alignment with nature. This doesn't change. But Ayurveda, like yoga, adapts to any ecosystem and to the current needs of society. During the agricultural and industrial ages, grain and legumes were made available in great abundance for the first time in history. People were laboring in factories or fields. And, for the first time, more grain was consumed in relationship to fruits and vegetables during that time. This was new for us human primates.
And, just what were people eating before then?
Before the agricultural and industrial age, fruits and vegetables, particularly green leafy plants, were the most readily available food for most cultures. Think of picking some dandelion greens or an apple versus a bowl of rice. One is ready to eat as soon as you harvest and give thanks. The other, you harvest the grain, remove the hull, soak the grain to release the inhibitors, and sprout or cook the grain. There is a lot of energy output in harvesting, cooking, and digesting nutrients from rice versus apples or dandelion greens.
So you're saying that how we apply Ayurveda in the information age is different than in the industrial age?
Yes. Let's get back to how living foods Ayurveda works. When we combine the principles of Ayurveda, which include seasonal eating, eating from our local ecosystem, eating a sattvic diet with relaxed awareness, mindful of food combining, and eating for our body type, or unique constitution, we're in the terrain of living foods Ayurveda. The food preparation techniques of living foods, which have their prana, or life force intelligence, intact, can be a very powerful way to create life force in your body.
So what you're saying is that the principles of Ayurveda can be adapted to a raw foods diet. And perhaps, that might help people in the information age.
Yes, Ayush. You're quick to the draw. If you're sitting in front of a computer most of your waking hours, and you haven't solid yoga practice that awakens your subtle body, You may find your body thrives on living green drinks which are grounding and alkalizing. If you worked in a factory all day, you may be more nourished by something heavier, like cooked grains and legumes, or even locally raised animal foods.
So, to recap, in the information age, Ayurveda is helping humans adapt to our hyperstimulated acid-producing lifestyle by reintegrating more living foods.
By golly, Ayush, I think you've got it. If you'd like, we can take up this conversation with how to balance the different constitutions with living foods Ayurveda, like I teach in the Living Ayurveda course.
Yes, Kate, I'd like that very much. And do you only teach a living foods approach in your courses?
Actually, I teach a full-spectrum whole foods diet with Ayurvedic principles. I teach both living foods and traditional approaches to Ayurveda. We are all in various phases of our vibrant health evolution, and our diet is better shifted slowly and consistently from where we are at right now to the next stage.
Ah, that sounds reasonable. Okay, let's talk again soon.